Okay, Action Comics 900 came out this month, and that by itself is an actually huge accomplishment to hit 900 issues. Now, the main story dealt with the finale of the Black Ring storyline, as well as a continuation of Reign of Doomsday, which will then have part 2 of Reign of Doomsday take place in Action Comics 901, 902, and 903 so far. Now, these issues also had a collection of other stories that we'll say at this point in time are essentially out of continuity. One was essentially Jor-El talking to another scientist about, could you devise a life support system that could last for years in a very small container? And the guy finally asked, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I want to put an infant inside this. Oh, and our world is coming to an end. So it was Jor-El talking about, the device that was going to be used to harvest, to hold Kal-El as he found, a planet to grow up on. And then another one about, Lois having a Legion flat ring and stuff like that. So things that you can pretty much assume are relatively outside of continuity. But there was this one story where Superman decides to go over to Tehran during the protests, and essentially just kind of stands there for 24 hours to try to inspire, hope and solidarity in the process of the protest, to make sure everything was kept non-violent and peaceful. So, I'll read a couple sections from the, that's 24 hours I left. But did it do any good? Did the regime promise to start instituting democratic reforms? Next page. No. So what purpose did your showboating serve? Your actions have created an international incident. The Iranian government is accusing you of acting on the president's behalf. They're calling your interference an act of war. I realize that, and you're right, of course. It was foolish of me, which is why I intend to speak before the United Nations tomorrow and inform them I am renouncing my U.S. citizenship. What? I'm tired of having my actions construed as instruments of U.S. policy. Truth, justice, the American way, it's not enough anymore. The world's too small, too connected. Now, saying that, essentially page in its entirety, almost everyone focuses on the phrase, I am renouncing my U.S. citizenship. I'm tired of my actions construed as instrument of U.S. policy. Truth, justice, the American way, it's not enough anymore. Essentially, it's Superman trying to talk about how he feels that he should do more to benefit mankind as a whole and not just be seen as a United States symbol. For some people, they are absolutely livid with this. Like, we should boycott DC. Now, since this is just a portion, this is like a small, 8-page story in a 96-page comic, and I'm pretty sure most of what we've seen in the other stories have absolutely no bearing at all on the overall grand scheme of who Superman is. Especially thinking that he just finished spending time in, I think, the regular Superman comic, Adventure Comics. He just spent, the whole year walking across the United States. Trying to get himself better acquainted with the United States. And then, in the Action Comics main storyline, he's currently trapped in a pocket universe battling a small army of Doomsdays. I don't think the fact that he said that the American way is not enough anymore is directly associated with the character's going to go, and more of, the writer wanting to tell a good story and showing that Superman might actually have grown beyond the just being focused on America and instead of focused on the entire world. And ironically, that's been done before. Alex Ross did a story where Superman, tried to fight things like world hunger and famine and war and disease. And you realize that he just couldn't. He didn't have the capabilities to deal with those sorts of issues dealing with humanity. I look at it like that too. It's a story where, from that standpoint, if Superman were to instead go from being focused primarily on the United States and instead focus on the entire world, okay. Other countries have superheroes as well. Batman currently is trying to put Batman-like characters in every country. It's because, if you are an alien from another world, And I was trying to figure out how he had U.S. citizenship. Does Clark Kent or Superman have U.S. citizenship? Because technically he has two different personas. And that one line, treat us American way, it's not enough anymore. Maybe if you're looking at the world as a macro level and helping humanity as a whole and not just, the American people, yeah, if that's the point he's trying to get across, yeah. It's not thinking about, I'm an American, you're someone from Europe, it's thinking about humanity as a whole. And from that aspect, it works fairly well. We'll never actually know from Superman's standpoint what that would actually be like. You know, to hear everything around us, to be able to see things microscopically, to be able to see through buildings. We never actually know what that's actually like. But I could see that over years, if you had that ability, you might all of a sudden quit looking at America as your home and look at the planet as your home. Is it kind of preaching? Yeah, it does kind of fall along the lines of the reasons why I don't like Marvel. Because sometimes Marvel has storylines that are longer and in continuity that are fairly preachy. But this one, it seems like it was somebody writing a story about the way they currently feel. And I don't think it's going to actually affect Superman in the long run.